Skyrim may not be the best selling game of all time, but it may be the game with the most releases of all time. It's been released a ridiculous 8 times across 11 platforms, and by the looks of it, there could be even more Skyrim releases in the works. I can foresee a very special edition of Skyrim for the Switch 2 with all the new bells and whistles added. Just like how you needed to pay for the upgraded Switch 2 versions of Zelda, you'll definitely be needing to pay for the upgraded Switch 2 version of Skyrim. The Skyrim release situation is ridiculous. Imagine this scenario. The year is 2111, Todd Howard is awoken from his cryogenic sleep and is wheeled out onto stage at Gamescom to announce a new game, Skyrim Super Ultra Special Centennial Edition. The crowd goes wild at the thought of a 67th version of Skyrim, and because of inflation, it costs $1,000 per copy. Obviously that scenario might be a bit of a hyperbole. This is probably not the exact flavour of cyberpunk dystopian nightmare which will become the future, but as I said, Bethesda has released and re-released Skyrim 8 times across 11 platforms, including once on Alexa. Just to be clear, the Alexa version of the game is actually real. Today we're going to investigate and try and get into the bottom of why Bethesda and Todd Howard have re-released Skyrim so many times. The original Skyrim came out in 2011, and to put into perspective how long ago that was, 2011 was the same year that Portal 2 and LA Noire came out. Those games seem ancient now, and instantly after saying that, I feel like such an old man. Ironically, both of those games were very popular, but neither of them received any sequel, just like Skyrim. The next release of Skyrim came just under 2 years later in 2013, when the Legendary Edition came out, which was basically just Skyrim packaged with all the DLC. 3 years after that, they brought out Skyrim Special Edition. God Rays, remastered graphics, screen space reflection, and mods on console. All special features which were new at the time and included in the Special Edition only. PC players who owned the original Skyrim and all of the DLC did get it for free, $60 for everyone else. They later re-released Skyrim another 5 times with incremental improvements across various platforms. And in June of 2023, Todd Howard was quoted as saying that Skyrim has sold over 60 million copies. This is an unconfirmed number though, and not unlike Peter Molyneux, the guy who does Fable, Todd Howard is known to embellish the truth sometimes. But if this number was true, then it's likely that this would make it the 9th best selling game of all time, tied with The Witcher 3. Back in the 90s, when I was growing up and when you were still in your dad's balls, the video game industry wasn't the $300 billion industry that it is today. Video games were much more niche and less in the mainstream. It wasn't about the money, and a lot of the video games companies were run by people who had a passion for video games. They didn't care about the money so much, they just wanted to make the products that made them happy and made them feel fulfilled basically. Contrast that with today, where soulless corporal businessmen have realised that they can make serious bank by running video game companies and just selling you skins for $15 a piece. This means that it's less about players having a good product and more about how much money the games companies can get from you. Maximising the return on investment is more important to these bloodsuckers than making enjoyable products. If enough people buy these stupid little add-ons like skins or creations, the CEO gets a fat bonus and a pat in the back from the board. I believe that this is why we're seeing so many games come out in broken states nowadays, because the developers are pressured from above to release the product as fast as possible, and the people above and who are controlling these companies actually don't care about how the product's actually received. They don't care about if you enjoy it or not. They only care if you give them $70, maybe now even $80 for the game. And this is why there's such a resurgence of indie games, because indie games are almost like the games which came out back in the 80s and 90s, where it's people who are actually passionate about video games and making money is a secondary goal for them. If you want us to stop releasing it, stop buying it. This is a quote from Todd Howard, and he's not wrong. I've personally bought Skyrim 3 times, and I'm sure that many other gamers have done the same. This is also partly why the Elder Scrolls 6 just isn't here yet. The business was making a lot of money from Skyrim already, and releasing the Elder Scrolls 6 would have meant that sales of Skyrim would fall. The passionate game dev would want to expand the game IP, give the player new stuff to sink their teeth into, but the businessman only cares for the bottom line. In the businessman's mind, it's a lot cheaper to throw a new coat of paint on Skyrim and then re-release it than to develop the Elder Scrolls 6. There's no need to invest a shit ton of money into developing a new game when there's money already flowing from Skyrim's arse. Skyrim is already a proven product. It's proven to be liked, it's proven to be successful and profitable. The Elder Scrolls 6 does not have the same promises attached to it. For all we know, the game could be shit, and then it's just a complete flop. We've established that Skyrim is being released and re-released so many times due to the money making potential and because of the lifespan of the game. But that begs the question, how has the lifespan of the game been able to be so long? I mean, sure, it's a good game, but there are plenty of other good games which have come and gone without being re-released so many times. Skyrim strikes almost the perfect balance between accessibility and depth. You can just skip through all of the dialogue and exposition in the game and you'll still get the gist of what's going on. Or you can sit down and read a book to discover the wealth of lore. Skyrim is a game where you can do what you want. This is something that a lot of games try and do, but very few games actually are able to strike the right balance where the player has the freedom, but there's also a lot of stuff to do, which is interesting. There's hundreds of hours of content within the game. I guarantee you, if you look hard enough, you'll be able to discover locations, details, or quests which you didn't know existed before. You can play Skyrim for hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands, and there will still be new stuff for you to discover. A YouTuber I really like called Epic Nate made a 57-part series about all the small details that you can find in Skyrim. 57 parts should be enough to really show you how much this game has to offer. And this is before we even talk about the mods, which are pumping adrenaline into the lifeless corpse of this game to keep the heart beating. Skyrim is probably the second most modded game of all time after Minecraft. There's a variety of mods available, from mods which add new weapons, to mods which turn the game into a gunner simulator. It's your game, you can do what you want. To even 300GB mod packs which make Skyrim into a completely different game. Running Skyrim with hundreds of mods installed is really not uncommon, and you can go on Wabbajack to do it really easily. When a game can be transformed completely like this, it's bound to extend the lifespan of the game. It's like what I said in a video a few weeks ago, there's still like 20,000 people playing Skyrim every single day. That's insane for a game which is 14 years old now. You may wonder how these mods actually translate into people buying the new version of Skyrim when it comes out, and that is, when Skyrim Special Edition came out, quite a few of the mods were only made for the updated version of the game. When the Anniversary Edition came out, quite a few mods on mod packs required that version of the game now to function. When a mod pack requires a new version of the game, quite often people such as myself will bite the bullet and just buy that version of the game. I was really against getting the Anniversary Edition of the game, but then I had to get it to download some mod packs off of Wabbajack. Bethesda's constant focus on Skyrim, making new additions for it and also updating it 14 years after release, has got pros and cons for the company. The positive is that this great game, Skyrim, has managed to reach its full potential almost, and it's kept the game alive for an extended period of time. But then that's pretty much it for the pros. The cons completely outweigh the pros. The cons would be things like, we're now playing a 14-year-old game on a 14-year-old engine and it needs updating. Bethesda's game design has become completely outdated, and they haven't learnt the lessons that they would have if they'd been releasing games more frequently. This can be seen in the utter mediocrity of Starfield. If you want to know my thoughts on Starfield and why I think that game is finished, just watch my video from the other week. Bethesda's losing interest of the fans. It's like if a magician only did one trick. It might be amazing the first time you see it, by the 8th time you see it, the trick is boring, and you really just want something fresh. To say Skyrim is overdone is pretty much an understatement at this point. It's great that they've been able to squeeze all the juice out of this lemon, so to say, but they've really just hurt themselves in the long run. They've got a lot of catching up to do, because in the 14 years since Skyrim was released, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the industry, and they've only released, basically 3 games since then, each worse than the last. If you like this video, please comment, like and subscribe, and maybe even consider hyping the video. Why the fuck not?